back to Kim Talks. I'm your host, Kim Hayden, and I am super, super, super grateful that you are taking time to listen in, watch in, and join us here at Kim Talks, where we share stories of insight and inspiration in life, love, and business with resilient women from around the world. But first, be sure to recognize our sponsor. So today's episode is brought to you by Queen of Resilience.shops. So Queen of Resilience.shop is an online store with a bit of sass, a lot of fun. So straighten your crown, shop around Queen of Resilience.shop. All right. So today's super cool. Like, I've been kind of tracking this gal, stalking her for a bit because I just love the vibe and energy. So first, let me introduce, and then we're going to bring her on and we're going to just totally break this down and get you inspired. Victoria Jenn helps ambitious professional women transition from the corporate to entrepreneur. She operates in a zone of genius, monetize their expertise, and own their own, I love this word, badassery. She is a strategic, visionary thinker with 20 years of experience. She has had trained over 15,000 leaders and entrepreneurs on how to optimize their performance while maintaining a focus on emotional intelligence, reflection, and life balance. The press often refers to Victoria Jenn as the impostor syndrome killer. I love that. That's funny. And it just so everybody knows, that's Killah. There is no ER on there. With the significant results across industries worldwide. Her clients, both private and public, range from small to Fortune 500 and include many recognized industry leaders like Amazon, iHeartMedia, BlackRock, Coca-Cola, Morgan Stanley, and Johnson & Johnson, just to name a few. Victoria is also, and this is the cool one, everybody get your pen and paper. Victoria is also the founder and president of thefemalecollaborative.com, creating ways to engage with like-minded professionals who all want the same thing, to collaborate and win together. Now I bet you know why I wanted Victoria here so bad. Welcome to the show, Victoria.
Thank you so much. Appreciate you having me, Kim.
Oh, you know what? As soon as I started reading your profile and everything, I've just been kind of stalking you all along, going, this is a gal who speaks my language. I got to get her here. So we like to kick this off with getting a little bit of your pre-frame or backstory. Who are you?
Yeah. So who am I? A question that a lot of us have been asking ourselves, right? Especially recently. But I am a big time daddy's girl. So I grew up mostly with my dad, who was a single dad. So it was an interesting upbringing with him trying to do my hair at 5 a.m. in the morning and then travel to work. He used to be in the restaurant business. So I used to go with him in the mornings and like sleep in the booths while he had to get the restaurant together. So it was an interesting, amazing childhood. But I would say because of my dad, I learned the most about work ethic. I learned the most about customer service. I learned the most about using your personality and your cultura, your culture, to really build community and make people feel good about who and why they are. I'm also the middle child, I would say. So I have 4 sisters and a brother, 2 younger sisters, 2 older sisters, and an older brother. So I'm kind of in the middle. I grew up in New York, Queens. So New Yorker to the heart. And I spent most of my summers in Puerto Rico as a young girl. So definitely influenced a lot by the island culture and very proud of my culture and this curly hair and all the things that make me unique and diverse.
Amazing. So middle child. So there's all sorts of, like you just outlined, so many things that could have become what we would call like the reasons we would hold back or not succeed, right? You got middle child, single parent, a brother in there. I mean, I'm joking. Yeah. I don't mind brothers. I have 2 sons. So, but you know, so, and yet everything you've done has this real story and presence of positivity and stuff. So I want to dive, now that we kind of know, you know, who you are, what do you do exactly? specifically, can you, I mean, I know that there's a lot of, there's a
Yeah.
lot going on there. Give me kind of the high, and then the high profile, and then we're going to dive just a little bit deeper.
Yeah, sure. So, that's always an interesting question because so many of us are taught to believe that we need to be one thing always. And we need to be super, super niche, and people need to know who we are and what we're known for. And I think now we all have the authority and opportunity to really create whatever life we want and be as vibrant, as colorful, and fit into a lot of different boxes, if you will. So I am a master mindset and business coach. So what that means is I help specifically women overcome self-doubt, imposter syndrome, any of their self-limiting beliefs, and really mastering their mindset so they are able to start, launch, and scale up businesses. So that is a huge focus of mine. And I also dabble in the consulting space. I do a lot of work with organizations with helping them build out strategic campaigns on how to attract, develop, and retain talent. And I also do a lot of keynote speaking all around the world on a number of things, but definitely a lot on mindset and business and entrepreneurship. And then I have this nonprofit, the Female Collaborative, that I run, which really teaches women how to check the BS at the door and collaborate, make money together, share best practices, all of that good stuff, but really teaching women how to collaborate because a lot of them don't know how exactly to have strategic and profitable collaborations. And so that's why that was born. And then lastly, I have the Dare to Leap Academy, which is an online learning platform that I started late last year that teaches women how to make the transition from corporate or their 9-to-5 into entrepreneurship, even if they don't know what type of business to start and don't want to lose their financial security.
That is the perfect segue for my question here.
Okay.
We're in this huge, the resignation generation, right? And we're seeing this.
Resignation generation. I haven't heard that. I like that. The resignation generation.
and it's not actually specifically a quote unquote generation. It is a time or a period within our timeline, right? So it's really fascinating what's going on. And a lot of that, a big bulk of that is women over 40 that are done, right? They're just done. And they're exhausted and they've navigated this pandemic and they've done their best and they're not going to go back to an office. So
right.
Because you've been in this space for 20 years and what we were doing 20 years ago is not what we're doing, like our delivery modes, our technology. Right. So can you walk me through when you talk about this Dare to Lead and everything that you're doing, what are the shifts that you personally have seen in how you deliver or coach or find your revenue? Just walk me through kind of some ideas that you've seen the differences in and the growth and how you can help women.
Sure. So the academy is called Dare to Leap, right? Dare to Leap Academy.
Okay.
And just some background, I was in corporate for 15 years before deciding to venture out on my own 5 years ago. So I've been a full-time entrepreneur for 5 years. And what I found is just the way we communicate is extremely different in terms of what resonates with people. So back in the day, people really appreciated super formal, super sophisticated, super conservative, kind of stuffy, because we were all preconditioned to believe that that represented success. And that is what we needed to be. That is how we needed to look. That is how we needed to speak in order to be respected and in order to, quote unquote, make it. But now what we find, and we are finding more examples of this, is that people are able to blaze their own trail and become successful doing awkward things that we would assume would not be the case back in the day, like by selling their scents in a bottle and becoming millionaires. There's so many different ways for you to become successful now and make money. And because of the pandemic, I would say that women in particular do not want to be sold to in the same fashion as they had in the past. So in the past, it was very aggressive. It was very like, do this or die kind of thing. And now people want you to humanize your messaging. They want you to humanize your brand, and they want to get to know you personally And that now can serve as a competitive advantage versus back in the day, it was like, don't talk about your stuff, don't talk about your family, don't bring your personal business here, right? Whereas now people gravitate towards that human element and want to actually buy from the person versus the company now, which is a huge shift in the old way of doing business versus today.
Absolutely. Like a decade ago, I remember it was DSN publications. It was a direct sellers group actually did a survey across the United States, and they asked thousands of people who had purchased something through a direct sell company, which has always been historically women in direct sales, because it gave them an opportunity to do something that was networking and allowed them to make money, but they didn't have to commit to it or carry, a design or build something from the ground up. But they said the study came back that 80% of the people polled could not remember exactly what they purchased, but the same people remembered exactly who they purchased from. Right. And that really plays to what you're talking about, that it's okay to be a little bit different. I mean, I try to blend in as much as possible, never stand out.
Right, with that pink hair.
So, and I feel like that for myself and for the sisters like me out there, there's now room for the weirdos. It's now room for, as my mother called me, unique, which I actually found out was a whole different term in our family. But so when we're looking at that, let's talk technology real quick. So you have launched during COVID this online platform. Be real. How long did it take you to figure it out?
So I am in the business of working smarter instead of harder. So I went straight to an expert, hired them, and said, what is your formula? What is your model? Show me so I can duplicate it and go live. And that's exactly what I did. So it took me less than 2 months to really get this going and to start making my investment back.
Awesome. Which platform did you end up using?
Katra. Katra is where I host it.
Awesome. And I think that's the biggest. I thought there's no single directory out there with saying, here's Victoria Jenn, she uses this. Here's, and allowing, because I think women, we tend to find the story holders that we identify with. Where is the story coming from? Who is the person that we want to align with? Who aligns with our spirit and soul? And then we just want to find out what they're doing and use the same platforms. And I wish that there was just a simpler way to do this, because that's the biggest challenge that a lot of these women who are coming out of corporate. So my sister, who is like, she just got nominated for an award in Wichita. This woman is a really solid, very high up in a nonprofit for education for some of the most vulnerable youth in North America. So these are youth with challenges around like autism and such. My sister didn't even have a Dropbox. She didn't have a Google folder because she's been in corporate and because everything's controlled. And it's like, how do I get this video? And it's like, and I didn't even realize the amount of knowledge that's just in my head. Right. So, and that's where the female collaborative. Tell me a little bit more, like, what can people expect coming into that space?
So coming into the female collaborative or the Dare to Lead Academy?
Let's start with female collaborative.
So the female collaborative was born when I was just starting out on my entrepreneur journey. I needed to make some money. I knew how to put on events. I knew how to curate amazing experiences. And so I invited some girlfriends to put on a leadership event. And we decided what the agenda was going to be. And we called it the Woman Who Roar Summit. And we had women fly in. We planned this event in 2 months. We sold out. We had women flying in from across the country. And the feedback that we received from that event, women yearning for a space where they can take off the mask and be their most authentic selves and talk freely using their own vernacular and just have a space where they don't have to be on, but still create relationships that can prove to be beneficial. It was at that moment that I said, you know what? I think we're onto something. I want to turn this into an organization. And so that's how the Female Collaborative was born. And 5 years later, we are still alive and thriving. And every year we have the annual Women Who War Summit, which is our signature event. It's a 2-day leadership event. We have corporate sponsors, and we welcome professionals and entrepreneurs to participate in that event. And it's freaking kick-ass. And I love what we've been able to create. We've had amazing speakers like Soledad O'Brien, Sally Krawcheck, Ja Rule was there last year. There's some kick-ass, amazing speakers come in that just keep it raw, super
amazing,
raw, transparent, you know, not too formal, but very impactful.
So community. That's what it is. It's that community or that sisterhood I think that especially when we're leaving the corporate world and we're leaving that community, right? The space where maybe you go out for a glass of wine afterwards, or, you go to the baby showers. And when you go into that feeling of a silo, because that's what you feel like. You feel like you're sitting there working all on your own. That's where the collaborative comes in. It picks up that space, or that slack, or fills that void. That allows. Okay, awesome. I'm getting this. I'm figuring it all out. Awesome. So let's tackle Dare to Leap. So now we have women. We've found the community that can help support them. So they've got things that they can bounce off, because nothing is worse than building something in a silo, because the echo can lead you down the wrong path. Absolutely. So we're in Dare to Leap. What does Dare to Leap? How is that going to serve that woman who is leaving the corporate world in today's resignation generation of women, and help serve them to build their entrepreneurial goals?
Absolutely. So there's 3 major phases inside the academy. And the first phase is mindset, which is the foundation of everything that we do. And that's the first round of modules that they go through, which is critical and significant, because they're going to go through a major transformation, a major evolution of self. And that can be very scary. A lot of us are very afraid of our own greatness. And so we put them through the mindset training so that they're able to overcome any limiting beliefs and have a truly thriving business, but most importantly, be unapologetic about it. So yes, I'm going off the traditional path. Yes, I'm leaving corporate and doing my own thing. Yes, I'm going to make money by monetizing my expertise. And yes, I'm badass about it, right? So that takes a lot of training. And so we focus a lot on mindset. The next phase is business fundamentals. And this is where a lot of entrepreneurs trip up, especially folks who are fed up. You know, they give the deuces and then they just wing it. They have no plan. They have no idea what they're doing. But most importantly, they don't know what they don't know. When I first started really making money in my entrepreneur journey, by the end of that year, I had to pay Uncle Sam almost 30 grand. And it still hurts me to this day. But the reason why is because I didn't know the game on business taxes. So I didn't know what I could write off. I didn't know what was an expense. And I ended up paying for it in the long run, right? Also, I didn't understand the difference between an LLC and an S Corp. Like all of the game around business fundamentals that a lot of entrepreneurs try to skip over and figure out as they go end up costing them a lot of time, energy, money. And so we hone in a lot on business fundamentals. I would say the most significant part of that is, of course, building the foundation for your business and understanding core business principles, but getting certified, right? Getting certified as a woman-owned business, getting certified as a minority woman-owned business so that you can actually do business on a B2B level and bring in corporate and government contracts. So that is a key differentiator for the Dare to Leap Academy versus other programs, is we teach you how to get certified and then we teach you how to do business at the corporate and government level. So instead of going after these little crumbs, you can go after the cake, right? We're about making big money. I'll share a stat with you, Kim, that you will find interesting. So
I love stats.
Yes. So only 4% of women-owned businesses make $1 million in revenue. And of that 4%, 54% are able to hit that million because they do business at the corporate and government level. So if your goal is to actually really drive revenue, create legacy, live life on your terms, then you're going to have to start doing business at the corporate and government level if you want to accelerate that process. So we teach that inside the academy. And then the last phase is all about sales, monetization, and marketing. So how do you package your offer? How do you sell your offer? How do you use social media to build a personal brand that will pay you? And how do you use all the tools and resources at your disposal to position you up for success, which is another differentiator of our program. A lot of other programs will teach you how to get certified, but they won't teach you how to go and get the business, right? So thanks for helping me get certified, but how do I close? How do I get the money, right?
Well, and I think also knowing if you're a closer or not. That's not everybody is a closer. Not everybody is a closer. And it's okay to say, I'm not a closer. Then where do you go to, how do you bounce that off? And that's where having a community where you're networking, because they say your net worth is in your network. Absolutely. And that's absolutely. Here's an interesting stat. When you say less than 4% hit $1 million, it is interesting that actually kind of lines up with traditional bank loans. Less than 3% of traditional bank loans will go to female-founded small businesses. And if you are a visible minority, it goes down to less than 1%. And that is a last year stat through the banking organizations in the United States. So that and that shows that there's a lot of businesses that are starting up that are underfunded. Yes. And that's the big, and that can kill you, is that underfunding. That's something that I think warrants even more discussion, roundtables. How do we I know that we have Hello Alice down in Texas is a big one. That's now a VC advocating on behalf of women businesses. That's what Tipper Gore runs that. So there's a lot of options and opportunities out there. But I think what I'm hearing the most here is that leaning in and finding these services, finding the communities, finding the people that can help support you. So because you don't know what you don't know, you can't grow if you don't know what you need to know, right? And you can sit here with the amount of information and the amount of content that's out there. You can sit here now and spend hours online and never get the answers that you're looking for, never get that next connection.
Right. So, I always say that people like to go to Google University and YouTube University, and they think that they can figure it out by consuming all this free content. And yeah, you might get some steps that you can follow, but the magic and what you pay for when you hire an expert is the actual strategy. So yeah, you might be able to take step 1 and step 2 and create an ebook and start selling it. But if you don't have a strategy around it, you're going to lose very quickly, or you're going to get overwhelmed. You're going to get fed up, and you're just moving with the wind, right? Instead of you moving with intentionality, which drives what? Clarity, confidence, and it allows you to actually operate in your zone of genius instead of always playing catch up and feeling like you're behind. Always, always, always. So there's only so much that you can consume for free before you have to actually bring in an expert so that you're not wasting time. Yeah. All that research that you're trying to research on YouTube, pay somebody who already did the research, figured it out. They've got the answer. Boom. Here, take all my money. Show me how to do it so I can start making money.
Exactly. Well, it's interesting because the investment aspect, there is a study out recently that said people who are accelerating will invest up to 7% of what they want to make in their accelerators. So coaches and programs are accelerators, right? Mm-hmm. So if you want to make 100K, that's $7,000. Where are you investing that, right? So I find that
that's a good stat. I gotta write.
Oh, I love stats. I love stats. I'm the crazy lady with 101 different stats that
I love
50% of the time are completely useless, but I love them because I like to know why I'm seeing things, because I talk to so many people and I need to understand where is the common thread, what is going on here. It was fascinating. I was recently in Atlanta for a big women's expo, and the women who were working the expo, the women who had the businesses, are my avatar. They're who I talk to. But I had to go and do this thing. And I know people go, why would you spend that kind of money to go and do that? And it's like, the reality is I want to know from the ground up, what are the challenges? What are stopping women from going next level? And a lot of what you're touching on is exactly the feedback I got at this event. So, before we jump into why, I want everybody to take a moment. And if you're enjoying where this conversation is going, please, 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 please like, subscribe, comment, share. Like, subscribe, comment, share. Remember, sharing is caring. The Care Bears taught us that. And I am a child of the 70s and 80s. So I know
I love
I
the Care
watched all.
Bears.
I love the Care Bears. Awesome. So I got my public announcement out of the way. So Victoria, tell me why? Why? I mean, you could go back in corporate world without all the headaches and probably make as much money because you got the brand for it. And it's not easy running all of this. So tell me, why do you do it?
So I truly believe that, you know, when I was younger, entrepreneurship wasn't even on my radar. Nobody in my family was an entrepreneur. I was the first one to graduate college. Like, I didn't even know what entrepreneurship was or what came with it. So like, this wasn't even a thing. It wasn't until I got laid off from my last job, went on several interviews, could not close a deal. And my friend, am a closer. So I was like, what the hell is going on here? Like, something is happening. And I just took it as a sign from the universe to bet 1000% on me and see how far I could go. And 5 years later, I'm still here. And I believe the reason why is because once you get bit by that entrepreneurship bug and you get to experience the freedom that comes with that, and also the kind of feeling of just being liberated and being able to truly do things your way, make your own decisions, not having to ask anybody for vacation, not having to beg anybody to cover you, not having to deal with the politics that go on in corporate, and truly being the architect of your life and your career. That is why I still do it. And trust me, Kim, I mean, you might experience this too, but there are moments where I'm like, why am I doing this? I could just go back to corporate, like be chilling, you know, collecting my 6 figures, traveling on their dime, staying at the 5-star hotels and everything. But then what happens? I close a big client and I'm like, I can't stop. I got to keep going. I got to keep doing this, you know, or I have a woman in the Dare to Leap Academy that makes 6 figures. And I'm like, wow, like, you know, so that inspires me, I would say, to keep going, is watching my clients get results. And also really watching what I'm capable of. I think a lot of us don't realize what we can really do until we force ourselves to be uncomfortable, and be uncomfortable for long periods of time, to truly see what we are capable of and where our ideas can take us.
Well, I think that plays on the whole term growing pains. You can't
Yeah.
grow up without, you can't give birth, you can't do anything without there being pain. And so entrepreneur in my world is got its own special definition.
Okay.
And yeah. And the definition is, in a single 24-hour period, you can experience both an inspiring story and a cautionary tale.
Yes, you can. Within a millisecond, you can experience that.
Exactly. So I mean, at least there's nothing boring. There's no, it's no 2 days are the same, no 2 clients are the same. Every moment of every day and every client you experience gives you an opportunity to grow, shift, expand, or confirm what you're already working on. So resilience is something that we have to pull on to be an entrepreneur, to be a woman, to be a leader, to be the hand that rocks the cradle, to be, I mean, this is our time. We are in the age of knowledge, and this is our time to step forward and lead. So with that leadership comes significant draw on resilience. Would you be open to sharing a time that without resilience, you wouldn't be sitting in this chair having this conversation?
So I'll share something recent. Uh, so about 2 weeks ago, I took a bet and I lost 10 grand literally within 4 days. And I was so upset with myself because I felt like I didn't have enough information to take the bet. And I kind of foolishly signed up for it and should have given it more due diligence. However, if it would have went the way I wanted it to go, your girl wouldn't have been up like 50 grand right now, but it didn't. And, you know, there was a moment there where I was like really in my feelings and really feeling a way about this investment. And then positive Victoria came back on the scene and was like, all right, how are we going to use this A as a learning experience, but B, how are we going to use this as fuel? And I've already made back the 10 grand because I was like, you know what? Now this is going to be my new mission. My new mission is going to be to make back this 10 grand in a week. Let's see if I can do it. And that was a moment where I really showed resiliency because that could have really kept me down for a couple of weeks. And it could have impacted me when I got in front of clients. It could have impacted me when I was coaching. And it really could have gone left, all the way left. But I would say in all my moments of resiliency, there was a decision. There was a decision that I made that either I was going to let this hold me back or I was going to use it to propel me forward. And I would say throughout my career, regardless of what came up, I always had that ultimate decision to make on how I wanted this to impact me. And I'll share this one last thing with you. During the pandemic, like many of us, I lost myself. I lost my mojo. I lost my fire. I didn't feel like myself for a really long time. And it impacted my business. I left a lot of money on the table. But during that process, I found God. During that process, I found clarity. During that process, I found purpose. And I also, during that process, realized that I would never allow myself to focus on my feelings instead of the mission. And that was a huge learning. And I think something that women struggle with often. Our emotions tend to dictate our actions and decisions, which in some instances can prove to be great, but in many instances, it can prove to be dangerous, right? And kind of deter us off our path. And so that was a tremendous, I would say, moment, transformational process for me. But it ultimately came down to that day where I was like, all right, B, we're no longer letting this hold us back. Like, we're no longer allowing this to stop us from operating in our purpose and in our greatness. Like, we're done here. And then it wasn't until that decision that I was able to overcome. So, you know, resilience, I would say, really boils down to you deciding that you're going to go for it and you're going to make the best out of a really hard, dark, complicated situation, and you're going to make the best of it.
Absolutely. What's your like affirmation or a morning routine? Give me one thing that is something that our listeners can take away to help them with their resilience.
So every morning when I wake up, and this is not me just saying this to say this, I literally said this morning, and it's very quick. It's very easy. It's the same thing I say every day. And it's like, thank you, God, for waking me up. Thank you for keeping me healthy. Thank you for keeping me, my family and friends healthy. Thank you for my thought leadership. Please use me as best you see fit today, every single day.
Amazing. Yeah. Having the affirmations or the attitude of gratitude makes a huge, huge difference in just that mindset, right? It's like having a roadmap. That's really what it is. It's like, okay, I have a roadmap. I'm not sure where the end destination is going to be, but I know that I need to take a left and take a right and keep moving forward. Whereas when it's just everything thrown at the canvas or thrown at the paper and there's no clarity to the picture because you don't know how to throw, you don't know how. And that's where I find gratitude gives us a distinct aim. It's like,
absolutely,
it's like,
just appreciate where we are in our process and appreciate what we have, right? Because regardless of where you are, there's always somebody who wishes they were you and wishes they were in your situation. And something for your listeners that I would love to leave with them, if you're feeling stuck and you're feeling like, oh, you're just waiting for that breath of fresh air to get over your hump. For 15 days, you have to do this consecutively in the morning and before you go to sleep. Pick out 5 affirmations that speak to you. Google top affirmations for whatever you're feeling and say those affirmations out loud, looking at yourself in the mirror in the morning and before you go to sleep for 15 days consecutively. And I guarantee you will start to experience a shift in the way that you think and the way that you behave and show up in the world. And if not, you can come for me on social media, but I guarantee you will start to see the shift.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, 15 days, that's giving yourself 2 weeks to start kind of adopting a different mindset to create that. And it gets infectious, right? It helps you just, it perpetuates. It's like those knockers, you know, those perpetual motion knockers that everybody had on their desk back in the 90s. And one would go click, 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 click. And that's what it does. And then it comes back, right? So it's like, but at some point in time, you have to start the first knocker. They don't do that automatically. You have to some point in time you have to consciously take that first little metal ball and pull it back. So, you know, first tell everybody where I want to get this in case they chop this up. Who knows? Where can we find you?
Yes.
I've got one website, but you have several websites. Where can we find you?
So the main place where you can find me website wise is Victoria Jenn, JENN.com. You will find everything Victoria Jenn there. On social media, you can find me at I am the letter I am Victoria JENN. And you can find me on Instagram, on Twitter, Clubhouse. Everything is at I am Victoria Jenn. And then LinkedIn is my name, Victoria Jenn Rodriguez. You can hang out with me over there. Make sure wherever you go that you connect with me, y'all, and let me know that you met me on Kim's show, on Kim Talks. Give me your takeaway, because I'm about community. This is not about like a follow one and done. This is about like, let's get to know each other. Let's add value to each other and let's build and make some money together. So definitely introduce yourself.
Awesome. Books, real quick. Top book. What does every woman need to read?
I'm going to show you right now because I actually have it right in front of me. This is one of my favorite reads right now.
Oh, yes.
Untamed. And it's right here, right behind my laptop. I'm almost done with it. You see my marker right there. But I'm obsessed with this book right now because it really drives home what happens when you stop doing things to appease others and really start doing things for yourself. And really staying true to yourself, regardless of how crazy that might sound to somebody, even yourself. It might sound bogus. It might sound weird. It might be unfamiliar, but it feels true to you. The magic that comes with really being comfortable in your own skin and not living your life to appease others, but to really appease yourself.
And for our audio audience, that is Untamed, Glennon and Doyle.
Yes. Yes.
Awesome.
Untamed.
And beautiful cover too. It's very eye-grabbing. It's like, I almost wish I had a shirt made out of that or a jacket.
Colors. It's just like speaks to like live out loud.
Energy. Yeah.
Yes.
Energy in there.
Yes.
So I ask everybody for a quote because I love to collect stories. I love to collect quotes. What is the North Star quote for you? What is a quote that you've always kind of pulled on?
So one of my favorite quotes is by one of my favorite artists. His name is De La Vega. He's a street artist. And his quote is, "Be mindful even when your mind is full." And I think that, yes, that definitely holds true to everything that is going on, people going through their own shenanigans, and just being mindful, even when your mind is full.
Oh, that is good. That is good.
Yeah.
Wow, that is actually pretty powerful. I really like that one. Thank you.
Yeah, that's my
Thank
North
you.
Star one.
Wow. Okay. So everybody do reach out, do connect. Victoria Jenn has this amazing group. If even just the littlest thing, go out and join the her collaborative, because really, what an amazing space to help support other women, even if you're not ready to be supported. Go out and help other women, because we all like to nurture and care and share.
Right.
If you have loved this episode and you can't get enough, I do want you to go over to YouTube. I want you to check out Victoria Jenn's channel, Victoria Jenn TV on YouTube. And she has a show called Women Who Roar that's quite popular. And you never know, there may be somebody on there that inspires you to roar. So
Yes.
So again, I'm Kim Hayden. I am so grateful and thankful that you chose this show to watch, to listen, to share. And you know what? Be good to yourself. So the next time you're feeling your resiliency is lagging, be sure to listen and lean into our resilient community. You can join easily through resilientgift.com for your free membership. DM me if you have a story of resilience that you'd like to share, you think other people can learn from, and you're ready to speak up. So this is where we celebrate and showcase female founders, coaches, entrepreneurs, authors, and speakers, and those who aspire to be any and all of the above, because we can do anything. Until the next time, I am your host, Kim Hayden, and I am honored that you shared your time with me.